I just walked by 5 men digging cable. They're laying fiber optic internet cable on the road back here. 5 men. And they're being paid, my guesstimate, $25 to $35 per hour. And I walked by them at 7:10 this morning, so they start at 7 o'clock. And all five for five, were leaning against the equipment on their so-called smartphones. 10 minutes after 7 o'clock start, 10 minutes into the day, being paid $25, $35 an hour. All 5 on their cell phones. No equipment running, no shovels, no holes being digged, no manager, no boss around. I just did my 70-minute, 15,000 step walk. So I just walked by them a second time, and being the great guy that I am, I thought I'd give these guys the benefit of the doubt. By the way, I talked to everybody. So I know that their starting time was 7. I know when their breaks are. I know what they're laying. I know what they're digging. Dan Leon has taught me to talk to everybody. Get to know all the civilians, get to know all the earthlings. Put yourself out there. Talk to the people that hand you your lunch, your cup of coffee, other parents at school, other parents at the ball field. So I just passed by here an hour later, and they've improved. Only four are leaning against the big tires and the truck. One's leaning against a Cadillac. 4 out of 5 on their phone. Completely checked out. No shovels, no picks, no laying cable, no work whatsoever. All 4 on their phone, texting or whatever, watching videos, talking to their fucko friends, planning tonight, planning where to meet at the bar after, everything and anything but working. And one guy on the piece of machinery. He's the guy on the big digger who's digging the hole, these lines to lay this huge orange fiber optic cable, which is great news for Yours Relentless. It means I'm going to have 5G speed, not just at my mastermind house, not just at world headquarters, but also out here at our lake house within a year. So fiber optic is coming this way. I'll be able to sit on the end of the dock, on the boat, by the fireplace, and I'll be able to download these videos much faster, watch shows much faster. So good news for Yours Relentless. If you employ people and you haven't taken their phones away, the joke is on you. I've been down this road in sports, in business, multiple businesses, and if you're still playing this game of, I expect you not to be on your phone, I expect you to be working, then you're a dead man walking. I gave up on Mission Impossible in 2017. That's almost 6 years ago in the insurance business. I cut the cord with cell phones, and I stopped tolerating nonsense because I was paying people $25, $30, $35, $50, $75 an hour to look after and protect people, my clients. 9,000 clients. Our responsibility is to represent and protect those 9,000 clients. Very difficult to do when you're on Twitter, when you're on ESPN, when you're making a grocery list, when you're conversing with your spouse, when you're talking to your teenagers about when you're going to pick them up. Anything and everything but work, what you're paid for. So we tried it, the inaccurate thinking way. I tried it for a couple of years where we said, put your cell phone away when you're working in the office. Put your cell phone away when you're working in the barber shop. Put your cell phone away when you're coming to the rink to play a game. Put your cell phone away during practice. So we treated them like adults. And it was an epic failure, as you might expect. People are unable, men and women, teenagers are unable now. The addiction is so strong, it's so powerful. It's literally, a smartphone is an umbilical cord attached to a human being. It's not long until this technology of the smartphone is embedded in bodies. It started already, but I'm talking about it's not long until people will actually accept this technology, the same as a smartphone, inside their wrists, inside. It's getting to that point right now. The sheep will accept anything they think is entertaining, anything that's sold to them as fun, anything that's popular. So after 2 years of getting my teeth kicked in, having beeps and emails answered, and having, you know, the average person has something like over 300 interruptions a day. Over 300 interruptions per day. Texting, emailing, messaging. And that was way back in 2017. It's got to be a lot worse than that. So in an 8-hour workday, you just don't have a chance. You don't have any chance of success. Your people are doing everything but actually working. So what I did in 2017, I include a copy of this letter in my September world building letter, where you can, immigration is still open. You still have 2 days till this Wednesday at 11:59. You still have some time to subscribe at badassletter.com. I'll send you a free t-shirt. I'll send you a copy of my old book. You'll be part of our online locker room. Plus, I'll send you my 22-page Michael McLean world building letter with the letter in here and a description of what we did with cell phones in 2017. Completely changed our business. Productivity went up 30%. That's mild. It's went up more than that, but 30% minimum the first few days and weeks. So if you're still allowing cell phones, if you employ people and you're allowing cell phones, well, you're a fool, and you're going to be a broke fool. So what I did in 2017 is I decided with our COO, Sandra Challenger, I said, that's enough of the babysitting. Somebody's going to make mistakes, and I'm paying for the mental capacity. Like, insurance is a mental game. My barber shop, that's a mental game. Hockey is a mental game. These guys aren't out digging ditches like the guys I just passed here. Not that they were digging anything. But what I'm paying this, I want maximum productivity. So I control the environment. If you want to change something, you need to change your environment, right? Willpower doesn't work. So willpower didn't work for those 2 years. So finally, we just took the phones away. So there's a letter in the newsletter, September newsletter, that I got all 23 employees to sign. There was no discussion whatsoever. They were called up into the office, and I had them sign it. Sandra had them sign it and date it, and the letter, you can read it. It's a single-page letter. It's very, very simple. And all 23 signed it. If you didn't sign it, you were gone. I didn't care either way. If you're not going to focus on your work, there's no sense in having you anyways. So 23 of our employees signed the no cell phone rule. And after that, then, you know, our entire business culture changed. So the employee would come in at 8:30 in the morning on average, and they would hand in their cell phone to Susan Crosby, my financial director upstairs. And literally 23 adults would have to hand in their cell phone like children, and she would keep them locked away until 12 noon, till 1 p.m. at lunch. And then like children, they would like scurry up and reclaim their phone for an hour. And they would literally sit in the lunchroom and they would look at their phone, text, email, you know, fake book, all this stuff for an hour and eat their lunch. They didn't go for a walk outside in nature. They didn't go for a walk in the park. They didn't go outside and get some fresh air. They sat in the lunchroom and they played on their gadgets and toys. And these are people that are on 3 big screens the whole day, by the way. When you're in the insurance business, we had 3 screens on every desk. So at 1 o'clock after an hour, they would go upstairs like little kids, and they would hand in their cell phone again and be locked away till 5 o'clock or 6 p.m., whatever quitting time was. And then at 6 p.m. or 5 p.m., they get their gadget back and they go play on it and they drive home, and that's their working day. But I don't care about the rest of it. All I know is I had 7 and 8 hours of their mental attention. There were no more phone calls from their kids. There were no more texts. There were no more emails, none of this personal stuff. And I locked down the computers, our personal computers at the office. I locked them down. They couldn't access Amazon. They could not access ESPN. They could not access any social media. And it also monitored what they were accessing. So they knew that I was checking. Sandra would check every week what the access to what they had been looking at on the computer. What had they been searching for on the internet? And just the fact they knew we were checking, we were measuring, it stopped it all dead. I also took it to the next level where my 3 receptionists, I said, okay, I want you to start tracking personal phone calls to the landlines, because we had 16 landlines. So now that the employees don't have their cell phone, I want to know if their kids are bothering you, if we're getting all kinds of phone calls, because these seem like pretty important messages, you know, like that's 7 times that Joey's called, or that's 11 times today that Sarah's texted her mom. So once again, we made it known that I'm going to be checking every day how many times the phone rings for personal stuff. And it was interesting. There was a couple of employees out of 23 who would have like 1 or 2 calls a day, and the rest went to 0. We would have 340 calls into our agency on an average day, just during the day, 16 lines, 3 girls answering the phones. They didn't need any more practice phone calls. So we stopped that as well dead. If it was an emergency, then the son or daughter or husband or spouse could call, but literally less than 3 of those calls per day. So as soon as we took away the cell phones, all of a sudden, all the nonsense stopped. All of a sudden, the kids didn't have to call. All of a sudden, the spouse didn't have to call. The best friend didn't have to call. The person meeting for drinks didn't have to call. It just stopped it all dead. And our productivity soared through the roof. I believe... Okay, I believe that instead of having to go to 30 employees, when I took away the cell phones in 17, I believe we stayed at 23 people until I sold the office. I believe I was getting the work out of 30 people. I was certainly seeing a huge increase in productivity. But it's the same for anybody that works for you. If you allow them to have their cell phone, if you allow them to do their personal time on work time, you don't have a chance. I don't care if you're running a restaurant, a bar, whether you're a dentist, whether you're a chiropractor, whether you're an insurance agent, whether you're running a hockey team like I was, whether you're running a barber shop. Like the first thing I did when I designed the barber shop 6 years ago is I put in those big blue lockers that I had at McLean Insurance so that the barbers can lock away their cell phones. They had to sign the same waiver and agreement that they would not use their cell phones. If they do, it's grounds for termination. And then they were locked away. None of this leaving them out and putting them on silent. They're too addicted. They're too addicted to their gadgets and toys. They need to be locked away out of sight until lunchtime, until break. So that's what I did with my barber shop. So instead of having a barber standing there, checking their texts and on Instagrunt and all this other stuff, they're talking to the client, they're talking to the customer, they're upselling, they're doing shaves, they're connected. So basically, I've taken control of the environment. I've mentioned many times the reason I believe we won the Barclay Cup in 2019 with my Perth Blue Wings hockey team is I took the cell phones away. I did not allow any of my athletes in practices or games or even on the road to bring a cell phone inside the arena. So I had 25 athletes, you know, teenagers, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds who were completely focused. And we were competing against teams where kids had their cell phones in the locker room, were checking messages between periods, before the game, after the game. So I had 100% focus, and the other teams had no focus whatsoever. So it was one of the key reasons that we won the Barclay in 2019. I'm convinced about it. Everybody was focused on the one task, and I took away the gadgets and toys. So you say, well, you know, my salesmen need phones and all these other BS excuses, or my business is different, Michael. Well, I've been in a lot of businesses and I haven't found one that's different. If I was running an old school sales team where guys were on the road during the day, they're going to see clients and they need their phone, you know what old school Michael would do? I would I would lock away their personal phone, because it's just insane. The applications, the texting, the social media, the websites on there. I mean, your sales guys, they're going to be spending 99% of their time on their personal phone, on personal business. What I would do is I would go as far as buying them an old school flip phone on Amazon. I would buy an actual phone, a flip phone. If these guys are so-called rainmakers, if these guys are closers like they say they are, the only fucking thing they need is a flip phone. Okay, closers and rainmakers like this cat right here, I've sold $155 million in the last 2 decades of products and services. Everything from hockey tickets to insurance to books to newsletters, you name it. I've sold it belly to belly, toe to toe, eye to eye in the real world. And you know what I needed? I needed a flip phone. And a flip phone now is more powerful for your sales guys, because it gets rid of all the texting and the emailing and the social media and all the bullshit applications. So if your guys are so-called closers and rainmakers, let's see it. A real salesman, okay, works toe-to-toe, belly-to-belly, knocks on the door and goes see somebody, like my dad. My dad never carried a cell phone till he retired at age 85. And the accounts that he handled, 40 grand, 50 grand, 70 grand, $120,000. You think when he went to see a dairy farmer or a $100,000 roofer contractor, you think that he texted the guy the night before or emailed him? No, he picked up the phone the night before and said, listen, John, I'll be at your place tomorrow at 7 a.m. I only need 15 minutes of your time. I'm going to deliver your policy and I'm going to be gone. That's how a cleaner operates. That's how a rainmaker operates. That's how a contender operates. And people appreciate the fact you pick up the phone. So if I had a sales team today, I would take away their personal phones. I would lock them away. I would not let them have any access to them during working hours, because what's the point? What's the point? And I would buy them a flip phone for phone only. And they would phone their prospects. They would phone their clients. They would pick up the phone, and this would discipline them not to be the chicken shits that they are with all their hiding behind a text, hiding behind an email. We used to find quotes that were emailed and text to people, and important things in the insurance business were being emailed. People don't even open their email. So I started banning voicemail in our office. I banned voicemail. We didn't have voicemail in McLean Insurance my last 3 years. Every phone call was answered live. If we didn't answer it with our 23 people, then I had a call center that picked up after 3 rings. If you called on Christmas night at 8 p.m., you got a live person. If you called on Thanksgiving Sunday, you got a live person. If you called at 4 in the morning, you got a live person. I got rid of voicemail, and I didn't allow my people to use email or any of that stuff. That could be used as a follow-up, but it had to be a phone call, and it had to be real mail. I mean, people, you need to communicate in these businesses. You can't leave it up to chance. Something like 90% of emails are now unopened and unread. So if I had a sales team right now, I'd give them the flip phones, and we'd get out there and we'd dial for dollars, and we would call people. And that's how guys who have $100,000 accounts, guys that run construction companies, guys that have huge $1 million car washes, guys that run flooring companies, guys that have huge insurance agencies. Are you kidding me? Those guys are on the phone. I used a phone. I didn't do any of that other stuff. My dad used a phone. That's the way cleaners and kings and these guys operate anyways. But that's what I would do. I do the exact opposite of everything you see now in business. So I take away the phones from the employees. I take away the phones from the sales guys. I would lock down all my computers, whether it's 2 employees or 20 employees. I would make sure they know that I'm monitoring every daily call. I'd make sure they know I'm recording and listening to all the calls. I would make sure that I put in lockers and physically take away these dumb phones and gadgets and toys out of their hands for the time that they're working. I'm buying their mental time. I'm buying their time at $20, $25, $50, whatever it is. And if somebody doesn't want to adhere by these rules, I'm 100% non-needy. I don't give a shit whether they work here or not. I'll just recruit somebody else. I'll just go hire somebody else to do it. So that's the way I would handle things. And for these excuses you say they need a phone, well, get them a flip phone and take the other one away and make them get back on the phone and do business the old school way. Hey, you know what, Michael, this seems really old school. This seems really radical. This really seems badass. Well, guess what? That's how you build a 7-figure annual income. That's how you build an 8-figure net worth like I have. Okay? You don't build that doing things that 5-figure guys do. You don't build that doing 6-figure things. You have to radically look around and say, everything you see around you now in sales, in business is dead wrong. And if you want to be a 7-figure earner, if you want to build an 8-figure and 9-figure net worth, then you got to look around and say, everything that's popular, everything you see is dead ass wrong, from phones to time management, to money, to marketing, to systems. Everything is dead ass wrong, and you need to head in the opposite direction. If it's popular, if it's wrong. If it's being done by the majority, it's wrong. And then you do the opposite. And that's exactly what I did by taking away the phones in my insurance company, in my barber shops, from my athletes, from my coaches, from my trainers, everybody. And I took control of the environment, and that's how you make a 7-figure income. That's how you build an 8-figure net worth, by doing the exact opposite of the average, the ordinary, and the quiet desperation mediocre. So, as I said earlier, immigration to my newsletter is open till Wednesday at 11:59 p.m. and then it's closed for another month. If you're one of these jokers who missed out on my August newsletter, it was 22 pages of world building gold. So you've missed out on that if you're not a member. You can remedy that mistake by going to badassletter.com and making sure by Wednesday that you subscribe. It's $97 a month. That's pocket change for a badass world builder. You sign up, I'll send you a free t-shirt. This t-shirt alone is worth $60. Plus I'll send you my old $155 million marketing blueprint book that I wrote in the insurance industry. You get fax access to me, you get mail access, you get to be part of the Locker Room Brotherhood. I do a webinar every month, the last Monday. Plus I just got finished yesterday. I wrote a 22-page paper and ink world building newsletter for this September that you just blow the doors. It'll blow the doors off, and that cell phone letter is in there. That cell phone letter you need to give to every damn employee. Everybody from the CEO, the COO, whoever's working for you, the receptionist, your home cleaner, whoever the hell it is that works for you, so that you fight this epidemic we have of zero focus. And that letter's in there, plus an explanation of how I frame this to get 100% total compliance. Also, deadline for my 5-star mastermind is this Wednesday, 11:59 as well. If you're interested in punching above your weight, go to badasschampion.com and apply. 5 questions. You and I get on the phone. We see if I'm the right coach. Maybe I'm not. And we see if you're the right applicant. Maybe you are, maybe you're not. badasschampion.com. You and I will be joined at the hip for the next year. You'll be joined at the hip with 10, 15 other elite badass world builders. So man, we are going to make sure that you 10x your income, your wealth, your world, your marketing, your marriage, your relationship with your kids, your physical health, your time management. We're going to take this and scale your life and your new kingdom to the moon. badasschampion.com. That's it. Do what I do. Tell your wife and children before the sun sets every night how much they mean to you. There is nothing more important in building your world than those words that come out of your mouth. Leave a note, send a text, slip something in a lunch pail, put something in the bathroom mirror, write your kid a little, like your son or daughter, a note if they're away at university or college. Whatever it is, tell the most important people in your life how much you love and appreciate them. There is a last time for everything. You do not want to take any of this for granted. Tell them how much they mean to you. The most important people are not in the White House. They're standing in your house. 2 words that changed my life, 2 words that are changing your life. Be relentless.